Hey, good morning, brethren, and I'm so glad to be with you. No, we were late yesterday with our devotion, but I hope this one gets you on time. That means I hope this gets you before you walk out of your door to get into a busy day of work and responsibility. I was reading my Bible again, and by now you realize I try to do that sometimes, often enough. But I was looking at Romans chapter 3, verse 23, when it says, all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And I'm fascinated not by the word for sin, but by the word all. So I went and looked it up in the original language and realized when it says all, it was including everyone that is born on the planet. There is no person left out of the statement. The word means to be completely, to be totally inclusive, all. And they said in one of the lexical I was looking at, it simply says, when there is no definite article, the or the, it includes all of what is. So when it says everyone or everything or even the word all. So when the scripture says all have sinned and fallen short, it's actually saying in our attempts to meet the standards that God would have set by his own life and by his own pronouncements, we fell short. We did not arrive at the mark that he would have set. And in so doing, what we would have done is created a response by God. I know you're going to say to me, there are degrees of sin, and therefore I am better than the murderer. But let me inform you that the murderer, drug dealer, rapist, petty theft, slander are all in jail. They may be in different sections of the jail, but they've all been convicted and they've all gone to jail. And I'm simply saying, because yours is smaller doesn't mean that you're innocent, or because mine is bigger doesn't make me more culpable than anybody else. It's simply this: we've all done it, we've all sinned, and because of that, it actually puts us in the place to receive grace or to reject it. Because if I'm drowning and I see the lifeguard coming out, I have the choice to receive the assistance or to reject it. And in rejecting the assistance, I've got to be careful that the consequences of rejecting the grace, that I'm able to manage it. It says, all of us have sinned. I am not exempt. You're not exempt. And somehow, in the midst of that, the gospel's good news is not that we've all sinned, but that God has created an opportunity for us to escape the consequences. Even if we can't escape the presence of sin, we can escape the consequences by a divine act of God through his grace and love for us, brings us into that space where we could be recipients of it. So while we all have sinned, not all of us will receive or accept the grace. Because the same all have sinned, God would have created sufficient to manage all of mankind. The sacrifice made on Calvary by Jesus Christ himself would have created a situation that allows all of humanity to be recipients of the grace of God that sets us free from the power of sin so that we might live for God. But you've got to accept it. You've got to receive it. And I hear people saying, oh, but that's when I was a sinner, now I am saved. Hold on. Because we're battling with sin, and tomorrow we'll take a look at what the strength of that battle. But because we're all battling with sin and because we're all struggling through to make things right, we sometimes think that we're better than because we're not doing what we used to. But I'm always reminded it's not where I came from that matters as much as how I arrived at where I'm going. You say to me, you left Port of Spain heading to Arima, and because you got to San Juan and others stayed off in Movan Junction, that you're better than them, but both of us would not have arrived at our destination. And a lot of times, because we're doing better than somebody else, we think that because our better, and I want to make sure you get it clear, we're not measuring ourselves by them, we're measuring ourselves by the mark and the measure that God would have set. I admonish you, I urge you, receive the grace of God. Not only is it free, it's really available. God bless.